Hello.
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 Okay, it's probably already, we started already. Okay, hey, hello everyone. It's great to welcome you here on the first discussion of Encounter 2021. It's my big pleasure to see you, and also I'm sending my big greetings to all of you who are watching us on YouTube, and it's great that you are here, and thank you for your participation. Today we will discuss two performances. The first one is JOAN, performance from Poland, and the second one is Yes, Maybe, the performance from Switzerland. It's my great pleasure also to welcome here, and now pardon my pronunciation, but I will say the names and I hope I will say it correctly. It's great to have here jury member Elsa Valentim from Portugal. Hello, Elsa.
Hi.
Also, it's great to have here from Poland, Michal Cisz.
Hello.
Franciszek Karpinski.
Hello.
Melania Kowalczyk.
Hi.
Agnieszka Gawlinska.
Hello.
And from Switzerland, we have here Millie Vikanis.
Hi.
Jean Lemoine.
Hello.
And also Mark Scheufen.
Hi.
Hi, it's great to have you here. So now we will play a short excerpt from these performances, and then we will continue with the discussion.
Kazałem mi ją.
Dobra, zrzucę cię z tej nóżki. No, proszę!
Który to kapitan?
Który to kapitan? Jan kapitan cholery.
Szkoda, że się tak nie drzesz na polu bitwy, walcząc dla mnie z Anglikami.
Nie jest święte, nie jest nawet prawdziwą kobietą.
Wszystko mi kurwa jedno, skoro i tak się.
Co? Hej ty! Ha, i co?
Przecież to Bóg na was czeka.
No to niech nam dmuchnie w żagle.
Uwiedzionych pychą.
Nie jest ona jedną z tych, które jest...
Well, so that's it. And Now we will continue with the discussion. And I think we will start with Saint Joan, because also the first excerpt we saw was from this performance. Now I will read the short annotation of the performance, so you all will know what is it about, and then we can freely discuss the topic. So the annotation. It is the year 1429. France has been drowned in the chaos of war with England for nearly a century. Joan of Arc, a simple girl from the country who can hear the voices of saints speaking to her, becomes the country's last hope for turning the tide of history. She takes over command of the French army and leads it to a series of miraculous victories, recapturing Orleans and crowning Charles VII, King of France, all over the country of only a few months. In 1430, after a long and difficult trial by Inquisition, the authorities and church have Joan of Arc burned at the stake for preaching heresy. 100 years later, the same Catholic Church would canonize her as a saint. Although Joan of Arc has inspired musicians, writers, and directors for quite a few centuries, George Bernard Shaw's Saint Joan has been staged in a theater for 3 decades. Students of the AST National Academy of Theatre Arts in Krakow have boldly revised the image of the saint made by Irish playwright, placing Joan in a world bordering on an apocalypse, or perhaps elected from RPG games. Monika Střepka, am I correct in this pronunciation?
Yes, Střepka.
Střepka, thank you. One of the most well-known and controversial figures in Polish theatre, again breaks into contemporary reality with powerful theatrical diagnosis. For the world of the first half of the 21st century stands on the verge of political, ecological, and cultural catastrophe. The Notre Dame is on fire, as are the Siberian tundra and the rainforests of the Amazon. Joan, the girl who wanted to save her world, is burning as well. A diploma performance by students of the 5th year of the acting department of the AST National Academy of Theatre Arts in Krakow. So that's the annotation. And I think, well, to be honest, at first when I discovered that the performance is almost 3 hours long, I was like, wow, because I think all of us are tired of this online world. And I think all of us are tired of watching things, you know, streams and movies and series and everything. So I was like, okay, let's hope it will be nice performance. But then from the first minute, I was like, wow, that's amazing. I was just amazed by the richness of the stage design, the richness of the acting, and the richness of the topic. And I really enjoyed all of these 2 hours and a half, and thank you for this. My first question to begin a discussion is very simple, and I think like it's the basic question, but so why do you choose this topic? What's the story?
Well, thank you for your reaction to the to our play. Well, it was mainly the choice of our director, but we were talking about that and about the situation on the world and about the situation of women right now in the world, and the history of Saint Joan was very we found it very we found it very like it was a sorry, I'm just kind of lost here. It was a good story to show all these things, and to show the fights like of the individuals in this world, like the fight with big like governments or like companies, like maybe Greta Thunberg fight like with pollution. So we were like very we were convinced that this topic would this story could portray all these things or these situations very I think very good, very yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. I just want to say, all of you who are watching us on YouTube, send us your questions. You can write them online, and I will ask actors for you, and they will answer your questions. So don't be afraid. Just write us your questions online on YouTube. We are very looking forward to reading your questions. Thank you. And now back to the performance. As you said, that there were many topics which could possibly resonate in spectators and which probably did resonate in you. Also, the big topic of the performance is church. But I think that, I know that Poland, it's very religious country. And so maybe some people can find the topic of this performance a bit provocative. I'm not sure. That's my question. How did spectators, how did the audience react on this performance?
Yeah, we had a situation that nuns came to our performance because they have heard that there is a story about San Joan, and it's for sure about this classical story about San Joan. And I was surprised when I entered the stage and saw 5 or 6 nuns, and I was.
It was terrifying. It was terrifying.
Yeah. It was terrifying, and I played also an priest and the archbishop. So it was strange. But after the first part of our performance, they left. And it was too much for them. And I know it's in our country is very difficult topic, and because we have 2 options and both very I don't know how to say it, very strict. Very strict. And it's not so easy, but I think that we didn't want to stay on any side. We just wanted to ask questions, and we wanted audience to answer these questions.
Yeah, and it wasn't it wasn't about faith. We weren't like talking about the faith, but the difficult and dangerous relationship between politics and church, because the execution of JOAN, Saint Joan, it wasn't. It was mainly because of the politics of because English people they wanted to kill her because she was giving hope, and she was making the French win all the battles, and the church was really terrified that they could be cursed by the gods, that it is not a good thing to do, but they were forced to do this.
And I think that at the end of our play, it turns that the subject is treated more broadly, and it's not only about the church, but in general about the people who have power, about a big group of people who have a power, and yeah.
And fun fact is that St. John was written 100 years ago or something like this. And the main topic is still on fire. Especially now in Poland, we have to fight for our democracy, for rights, women rights, and for a freedom. We have to fight with a government. And Saint John, she was a fighter. She also has to fight with politics, with church. So yeah.
You said there were 5 nuns, but was there any other reaction, or only this one? Because this is a big topic. As you speak about it, I can see that it's a big thing in Poland. So were there any other reactions?
Yes, sometimes it was like after this first part, we had a break for 15 minutes and there was a second part. And if we had on the first part something like 40 people, on the next part it was something like 25. And it's, it was like that. But I didn't hear about something that it's I've never heard that someone said that it's too much for them, but yeah, we saw that people are leaving the audience.
I think I remember one. There was like a friend of our friend that there was talking about how this is this is hard, like the reception of this this topic, because she was Christian, Catholic, and like she kind of respected this, like she respected our acting and the whole scenography and the dramaturgy, like yeah, but she she had difficulties with understanding our form, and because it's kind of like a techno, like a party, and why is this even connected to San Joan? We are taking drugs, and it's not like San Joan wasn't doing this kind of things. Why this is like we are portraying her like that, some kind of drug addict or something, a party girl. So this was difficult, but we never got a review that was skeptical about the whole topic. Like we didn't get any bad response about how this is an, I don't know, attack on church or something.
Thank you. Thanks. Well, you said very interesting thing that in the middle of the performance.
Oh.
talk about in past 15 minutes, we didn't hear it. We don't know, and also the audience didn't hear it. So I will ask you questions again, and you know, if you talked about it before, we don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and we are very sorry because it's just, you know, it was too smooth. You know, things are not this smooth. All right, so we will go back to air in a minute.
All right.
All right, we are back. Hello again. We are really sorry that it took so long. We had some technical difficulties. So I hope that you who are watching us on YouTube, that you stayed also. You waited for us, and now we are still here, and you will ask us your questions. Like 15 minutes ago, or how long time ago it was, we spoke about the direction of the audience. I'm not sure if you want to continue in this discussion, if you want to say something more, because or if you did finish your the stuff, because then we can move to another questions. But it's up to you now if you want to say something more about the reaction.
We finished about this topic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's nothing more to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thank you so much, and sorry again. We actually have the first question from YouTube, and also it was my question which I had prepared before. So I'm really glad that someone else did think about it, because now I know that I was not the only one. And it's actually a very interesting question, because, well, as I watched the performance, I was like, wow, it seems like some TV production or something. I really admired the camera work, and well, my question was if you did cooperate with some like television production, or like some students of, you know, film production or something, because it was very good. And also this question is connected to other question which was asked on YouTube about the screenings, because it's very important for the performance. So how did you choose the fragments of the movies and shows and everything which were screened on the wall? And also, like, did you cooperate with some film production on this, or yeah, what was the key for choosing these fragments?
So maybe we should say for the beginning that we did our St. John before the COVID, and when we made a video, we didn't know that this video will be sending for any festivals, for like a play which people would see. It was a video to our archive. But,
yeah, okay.
But okay. I'm glad you say that it's okay.
Yeah, so there was like how do you say it? Like
we had a team of two cameras, yeah?
Three, I think three.
Three cameras.
Yeah, like the team
of professional workers.
Yeah, and they just recorded it live. So like we didn't have any cooperation with filming students or any of that. There were just like a couple of professionals. Yeah.
It was one shot.
Yeah.
They were invited by school, and they one day they came on our show, and they film it, and then editing, cutting, and they sent to our school, and it was archive recording, something like this. It happened.
And fun fact is that it was strange for us to play with camera, but not because of camera, but because the audience was very stressed because
very shy, like very shy reactions. They were they weren't comfortable with the cameras around, so it was very very difficult to play.
But you also asked and say about the presentation on the wall, yes? So it was a collaboration with a director. I was doing this because it was my scene, and we were talking about what we want to talk.
To address, like
address.
We want to address.
So we were talking that that fragments of that little videos, they show that we want to fight with something, with bad politicians, with
pollution.
Yes,
and
with burning rainforest, that we want to repair the earth, to repair the planet, that we don't agree. So this presentation was like, like TV, and that you clicking and changing the channel, yes, and that word is burning. Word is on fire, and we don't agree it, and that you watchers should think about it, yes.
And like the thing about the TV it was the idea. It was like also to show the like how much information around the world, like the bad information, comes to us through like from everywhere, through TV and through media, and that almost nothing is changing. Like we all can acknowledge that the bad things are happening, but no one can do anything about it, and it's frustrating, and it's just like bombarding us normal people with this with no really people who are not in charge of anything really. Like it's just like bombarding us, and we are like it makes the situations very like makes our life very stressful really.
And also how it's easy to sit on the sofa and watch TV and say that, oh no, world is getting worse, world is burning, but you can also change the channel and it's all, and maybe you have to do something and try to make it better. So it was something we want to say something like this to people who watched the play.
It was a great choice, and it was very impressive. And also the stage design was very impressive. And I was wondering, like, how much time did you put into composing such a stage, and how many of these things were actually yours? Because I think, well, when I saw the stage, I was like, okay, I'm in some student's flat, and I felt like a couple of years ago, I was like, good memories. So yeah, how was the process of working on the stage design?
Wow. Well, it was designed by a great scenographer and friend, Arek Szczeciński.
Also made costumes. So
and also made the costumes,
scenography and costumes. So it was his idea. He said he knew that it's a student flat, that we are students. He knew what kind of atmosphere we want to make on a stage, and he tried to make it real. So it was almost in 100% his idea and his I don't know. His idea.
Yeah, and
From the beginning to the end with us from every day.
yeah, he was there with us. He was watching our rehearsals and just to feel the atmosphere. But also we like the objects in the scenography, like this weird stuff, like I don't know, some helmets or I don't know, rifles, everything. It was like it was from like our schools, like how do you call it? Like the magazine, like a magazine, yeah, like the it was stored there, like the storage. And one day when we had the scenography built, we just brought all these things to the apartment and just like improvised with this. Like, I don't know, maybe I will wear this right now in this scene. Maybe I don't know, maybe I will use this here, and just like placing, we were just placing the objects everywhere. And what was really like a really fun experience was that I think it was a week before the premiere that we slept on the stage just to feel like this is our home, like this is our apartment. We had a party there
by night.
Yeah,
and
all
we
night.
At school in theater.
Yeah. We ordered some pizza and and then the empty pizza
bags.
Yeah, packs.
Maybe these ones were real, actually.
Yeah, they were ours. Yeah.
And it was very fun because we had the microwave which was working, and we have it on stage, and we have a water from this thing.
From the sink. The sink was connected to a bottle of water.
Yeah, so we felt like we are at home. We spend a lot of time in this scenography, so we felt like it's our place, it's our squad, and we live everybody together in this place. And
And on the morning we woke up and make a rehearsal.
Yeah, make the breakfast and then we rehearsed.
And also between the rehearsals, when we had a break, we also sometimes eat here and sleep in the beds and relaxing before the next rehearsal. So we spend a lot of time in that flat, and it helped us to feel that that is our home or something like this, and it helps us to play that students, that commune, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, so
like this community, like, yeah,
it was fun.
You change characters in the performance. I mean, Saint Joan is played by like all girls. Yeah, all of you, and also you change other characters there. Why is it like this? And also, how did it feel?
Unfortunately, there are not many plays that includes 11 characters, so we have to deal with it. But it was some kind of nice idea that that girl can play a priest, and why not? And it was jak to powiedzieć, specjalny zabieg.
Like it was a specjalny zabieg.
It was invention, yeah?
Yeah, it was mentioned.
No, we were. It was like oh my god, I have these words and they are just slipping my mind. It was planned. It was like very thought. Like we thought about it, about this idea, and of course, like there was a like technical reason behind this because of the like we are all 10 people, and there are not 10 characters in the whole play, but also it was something like of course the RPG theme, like the thing that we are just changing the characters because the scene is changing, so we are changing because in that scene, in this like scenario of the RPG, there are different characters, but also that Saint JOAN is becoming here like some kind of every woman, like there is a every man, and it was like every woman, like it wasn't only just one person, but we but like something like it was symbolic, like
that
every woman could be Saint JOAN right now, and I think
it's more, I think that everyone can be a Saint JOAN.
Yeah, of course.
We have to be fighters in our lives, and we have to fight for our ideas and dreams.
It shows that the brave or the I don't know, violence is not depends of the gender.
But maybe Melania want to say something about playing Saint John and priest, because she was.
Yeah, it was like schizophrenic, right? Because it was like two different worlds.
Yeah, it was a big adventure, and I had to explain to myself why is it that way. And we were talking about this with our director, and it's a long story, I don't want to say, but it was a big adventure for me to explain myself how it works and why am I Saint JOAN. And a few minutes later, I'm with a toothbrush and playing priest. And for me, it was like I explained it to myself, but it's my secret.
A mystery.
It was at first it was terrifying that I have to do it, but later it was very fun.
I also think that it's great that like all of you, well, I have the feeling that all of you did this same amount of acting. Well, that's weird to say, but I mean, like all of you had enough space to express yourself. And then when you had your like big moment, you just sit down and watch others or something. And that was actually great. That like I can say that there was like one main character or something, like character, okay, but one main actor who played the main character, because all of you were actually main characters. And I think that was great. Like, what was the process of dividing the acting space, like behind you?
It's very specific for our director. Her performances are like a lot of people on the stage. There is somebody who has a lot a little more than others, but everybody, usually a lot of people are on the stage and they listen to each other, and they have some way on during the whole performance for their character, and it's related with the person who is now playing, and it's very specific for this director, and it's very nice and it's very interesting because this collective, this together working, you can learn a lot from just sitting and watching your partner playing, and you have to explain yourself. If you sit, for example, 20 minutes of the performance, you have to do something. You can't just sit and think about your dinner. You have to do something in your head to think, to be still in the performance, still in the story, and you have to work inside for 20 minutes doing nothing. And it was really fun to work like that. Yeah, and it's very, very specific for Monika.
You said that the play is long. It's long for you to watch, but we all on a stage for these 3 hours, not talking non-stop, but we are playing non-stop, you know. So for us, it was also it was fun to play. How to say it?
Like hard to play. Like it was tough.
After one play, we were.
Yeah. We were just like an empty balloon.
It cost a lot of energy from us, but we miss it now.
to be in the process all the time, like the whole time, and like I personally had this moment during the 5th scene, the end of the 1st act, where I was just sleeping in the background on the chair. But sometimes I was really like literally sleeping because I was so tired of all these things, and I like there wasn't really anything to do for me in this act because I wasn't in the scene. I was only in the background, so I could sleep. But it happened quite a lot when I just were like, oh my god, I'm in the play. Like I cannot do this. Yeah.
That's like, real acting, like,
Method acting.
Yes, method acting. That's it. Well, actually, what does our juror think about this? Elsa, can you say something, because you are very quiet? Can you tell us, what do you think? We can't hear you. Please turn on your microphone.
We spoke a lot when you was not there. Here.
Okay, but we didn't hear it. Can you maybe?
Yes. So I asked them if the director let them improvise, because I was very curious about how they built that atmosphere, because it was something very from our days. And I was saying that from our days, specifically 20s, not 10 years ago or something like that, the way they choose the music, the way they act, it was very present. So they told me, yes, they improvised something. They told that the director was letting them very free, but in the same time, she have a language very specific, and they was doing very clear her languages, not them. So that was, well, there's something that I'm curious too. It's about, you explained that it's because we are living times like similar, that people must fight for it, for the things are wrong. But for me, it's always a little bit strange when we use classical texts and we put it in nowadays. I mean, for me, I would choose, I can speak about an old text and put it on stage, but not put it in those days. My question is that if you had that kind of discussion, if you thought about it and what you think about it.
Yeah, we had discussed about it, and I think that what's important in our performance is that this convention RPG, role play gaming, these games that the young people are together in some place, like 10 people, and they are taking the story of someone, for example, Joan Dark, and they are taking the roles and they play like they are these characters, and it's very popular for young people now. And it's like it could be San Juan, it could be other story, and it's very popular. And this is the convention we took for us, that we are in squad in a party, and with these old words, with this old language, we are playing a game about a story of San Juan, and then we just can't stop playing it, and it's not under our control anymore in the end of the performance. And I think that this is something that is important for this performance, this convention. And about this, how we place it in today, we discussed it. We were talking about this in like similarity to Greta Thunberg. These topics are very, very current, I think, and we were talking about this a lot. But as you said, it's very hard to take a classical thing, not only in the topic of something which was long ago, but also language. So this was the convention, and this was an idea to play a game with San Juan theme.
Yeah, we looked on San Juan like on a superhero, and who she could be nowadays, and what could she do nowadays to make life better. And also the difficulty in text was for all of us, because it's old Polish, I don't know how to say it, but it's all Polish lines, and it was a great lesson for us, because we are in school also, so we have to learn to play that something is not fitting in us mouth.
Yeah.
Yes, to make it natural and
That sounds good.
Yeah, so it was I think it was just a lesson also.
Yeah, and I at the same time I think it's kind of like what Franek said about the I'm sorry, I kind of snapped. Like the thing that the superhero and the Joan, looking at Joan like that, and what would she do if she'd be still alive here, like now, and she lived in these times. It is also like searching for answers. I think like nowadays, like the people would like to know how to deal with things that are out of their control, and Joan did that. Like she was only a girl from some village, and she convinced everybody she needs to go to the child, to the prince, and crown him, and she needs to fight. And like, how did she do that? It is a question. Like, how can a single human being with no power whatsoever can like make a change? And I think that this is why we've chosen this story, and
it was only like a pretext or something like this.
Yeah, like we yeah.
Yes, that was my question. Yeah.
Be the change you want to happen. Yeah, for me, actually, that's interesting when you said that for you it was like you're playing a game and then you don't know, or you can't stop playing the game. I had the feeling actually when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, they're calling each other my lord, your highness, and everything. And it sounds so weird, but so good. And yeah, and actually I had the feeling like you're actually playing your game, the game, and then you just can't stop, and disaster is happening, and it's here. Thank you for this. And we have probably the last question from YouTube, because I think we need to end discussion about this performance and move on.
Mhm.
But the last question from YouTube, from Ricky, is: can you describe to us the early stages of your rehearsal process? How did you develop the material?
Yeah, of course. We were talking when we were offline. We did some research. We did some research. We were reading about medieval times and about Saint JOAN. We watched plenty of shows, really. And after that, like we sat with the text, like the play. We read it like for I think I don't know, maybe 16 hours. Really, like we were just studying the text, and after that we just improvised, not knowing who's gonna play who. Like we were just improvising, trying different
Roles.
different roles. And then we were also watching some other things, like some movies and shows for inspiration, like Stranger Things or Climax, the movie Climax, or the Saint JOAN, directed by Luc Besson, and also the weird, very quirky movie Jeannette, directed by Dumont, and Mad Max, and all these things. And then we just tried to combine it all on the stage. Yeah, I think. Yeah, please. Okay.
Okay. And before we knew who will be playing who, we tried to find the main character of every role in general, not for ourselves, but for everyone who will be playing this role in future. So that was interesting.
Yeah, to understand the characters, really. Like,
yeah, and the relation between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every JOAN tried every part of her life, and it was very important for us to know what is her condition in every part of this story. And it was very important for us, because it doesn't mean if I play JOAN on the first scene, it doesn't mean that it's not important for me to know what was after that. And the last one, the last girl in the last scene, she had to know everything what was earlier. So we tried every step, every part of her life. And yeah, it was in improvisation, of course. Usually we just it was like, we know the topic which we have to discuss on the stage. We know the directions, and we just go to the stage and improvise about these topics.
Yeah, and I think it was also because like the trying different roles and yeah, I think it was also to feel that we are making our own characters. Like our characters were only like the students' characters were only playing the game. So what if they just chose another character in that scene? Like we had to find the students also, like their personalities and their behavior and their thoughts and everything. Yeah, so that's why we improvised with really everything at first, and then just the director just she took control of everything.
She had a list of the characters, and she said, "Franek, you are that, and Michal, you are that, and it was like this. But we all played as students. It's main thing, I think. Students who take a card and something like, okay, so now I am Saint John. Okay, next card, I am a priest. So yeah.
Discussion, I think it was great. And I also, just the last words about this performance, I really enjoyed the song at the end when JOAN was, well,
the song
Nasze troski I kłopoty.
it's a song like a church song.
Yes,
in
I
Poland.
know, and it was really a strong scene, I would say, like very. So thank you so much. It was really great to have you here. And now, if you will have any questions about the other performance, don't hesitate to ask. But let's now move on. So thank you. That was Michal, Franciszek, Melanie, and Agnieszka. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And now let's speak about the performance from Switzerland, which is called Yes, Maybe. I will again now read the annotation. So just to remember, what is it about?
Yeah.
To be or not to be. I know exactly what I want to do. If only there wouldn't be the others. Well, then I'd rather stay quiet. Yes, maybe is based on the topic of honest decisions and takes up to the production process of theater performance. Human life is made up of decisions. On the way to a decision, we put oneself under constant pressure, which also fuels our own insecurity. It becomes even more complex when other people are involved. Tensions rise between our needs and those of our fellows, which causes a dilemma. Do I follow my opinion or stay true to myself, or do I pay attention to the wishes of the other person? We are caught up in our own claims and strive for our integrity. But our integrity is constantly crumbling. We get thrown back on questions about how and why we make certain decisions, or we may simply lie to ourselves in the end. Such questions and dynamics also exist in the artistic creative process. Whether as a soloist or in a team, decisions have to be made. But do the decisions primarily serve to the content of the work of art? Vanity and the urge to reach a crowd with one's art are part of the system in which art is generated and cannot be separated from it. There are tons of different reasons why the artist's ego could become more important than the message of their art. Sometimes for purely rational reasons, sometimes subconsciously. The way to a performance is a minefield of crisis with oneself or with others. It is 2020 after Christ, and we are still living in the Middle Ages. We are still living with the body that has many more colors inside than outside. We are still living with the fairy tale of love and not a single day without blood. Jan Faber. So there was the annotation. There are three main characters in this performance and three main actors who perform. And so my first question is also very simple and very basic. Why did you choose such a topic? How was the process of work on this topic? Yeah, you just need to.
Yeah. Okay. Do you hear me behind the mask?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, we can hear.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, this was our bachelor thesis project, and which took place in, I don't know, June last year. But the preparation for the project started, I guess, in October 2019 or something. I don't know, like this. And yeah, we were totally free what kind of project we wanted to do. And so we found each other because we were a class of 10 acting students at this time. And we were just like speaking about topics which were like bothering us. And we were really like into why are we doing theater? What do we want with theater? How do which kind of theater forms we wanna proceed, like the traditional way, or do we more like go into performance and so stuff? And yeah, actually we were all in different kind of crisis during this this process, and I think that like a kind of everything of this is inside our performance.
And we had several ideas before that. We actually thought a lot about hypocrisy in the art world at first, and then we went to how to make decisions as a group, in a group, where you work collectively in a project like this, and where you can exist as a human being in the midst of others. And I think that was a lot of the process we went through. Yes.
There are plenty of metaphors and plenty of like symbols and features and moves, and also repeating. There's a lot of repeating, which is great because for me, I felt like each of you had kind of like jingle or something. I don't know how to say it in English properly. Like some of you like had some movement, some move, or someone has a sentence which the person was repeating over and over again, and each of you had like kind of jingle for me. Maybe I'm wrong, but how did you find these? What was the process of creating these jingles?
Well, it was a very personal process in that sense that we really used the questions we asked ourselves personally. What do I want? What does Millie want? And so we came up with these themes or jingles, or as you say it, I find it quite interesting. No, it's fun to have the perspective from outside.
I think we never thought about those jingles, actually. Well, I didn't. I've never thought about that. I just thought that we all had our parts and that different ideas, what we wanted, or our different topics with the traditional theater, or the theme maybe that you don't want to bleed yourself dry for art's sake, or the construct of a performance and what it would take a performance to get really good. And is it that you just get to your physical limit and your but I never thought about jingles actually.
No, but maybe those jingles were a kind of expression of what we wanted to say, what we individually wanted to say, what each character wanted to say on this topic, or how they felt, how we felt.
Pardon me for using the expression jingle, because I'm from audio world. Actually, I'm audio maker, so jingle was the first thing in my mind. But for me, it was like, because Millie, I think. Well, I'm not sure now if I say. Oh, yeah, Millie, you are big. So John, you had the expression like my character would come here,
Yes.
something like this, and you repeat it over and over again in different emotions.
Yes.
And, Millie, you had
The movements.
the movement, like stuff you did with your body. So I felt like each of you had something, and also, sorry, I forgot the name, Mark. I'm sorry. You had, well, I had the feeling like your jingle was like you are the actor and you are saying things, but also for me it was very confusing. Why did you decide to not put subtitles there in some parts of your performance? Because for me it's maybe I took it wrong, but for me it was like you are kind of like playing big actor or something and putting your ego there somehow, maybe. And maybe it's not actually important what you talk about, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, actually this was a little bit the idea, because because as we said before, we were just like talking about this different kind of theaters, and also about our own problems with it. Like for me, why do I want to be on the big stage and playing all the big roles like Hamlet and so on, and what does it say about me as a person? And so I just wrote this kind of monologue, and were quoting and copying some acting styles, and it was like, there are so much information, and we're just like talking really fast, and even if you are native speaker in German, you probably wouldn't understand all of it. So it was like more the idea of what can you see, even if you don't get all the messages. So we were just like thinking, okay, what are the topics, how we can summarize it, how we can just like put it together, and because we didn't want you to just like read all the time, and so maybe then you would have missed the ego topic or something.
That's actually the thing I thought, and I'm happy that I that I understood it. Thank you. Maybe I'm not sure if you spoke about it when we had the blackout, but what about Elsa? Do you have any questions about this performance, our juror?
Sorry. Well, more than questions, I must say that your performance gave me something very. I realized something that I was thinking about, but I hadn't the answer, because I've been resisting to see theater in streaming. I'm resisting because, well, you know, and all of us from this crisis are thinking about what will be the theater in the future, if this still theater, it is not theater, you know what I mean? So, and when I was seeing your performance, I was thinking that, yeah, the theater will survive anyway. And they are showing me that this is theater, even if it's not in the stage. And the way, for example, that you use the cameras more Mark, but you really use the cameras as an audience, and like putting in the present that technology, like it's the audience. And I saw many things that I can say, okay, I check it in theater. You was there really completely with your body, with the limits of what you could do with your bodies, with the language, with that relation with the audience in the present. What I mean is, in the other performance, I saw it too, but your performance was the first one that it was very clear for me that the theater will survive, no problem, even if it is on screen. The way you speak about the theater and about your issues, it was very interesting too, because it is really the questions we all do. How can I say that sentence in different approaches? What Mark say about why I want to do all those characters, how it will be in the stage. And I thought it was very interesting. See young people think about those things, put it on stage. I don't have questions, just to say that. I don't know if I was clear. My English is not so good.
Yeah, but actually, just like to add it, because the trailer we saw before was like actually recorded during the performance of our bachelor thesis last year, and yeah, since the recording wasn't the best and we had just like this one camera angle from the side, we decided to record it once again for the festival. So we were in the position like to put 3 cameras in the theater room, and we could, I don't know, I think in the end we did 3 recordings or 2.5 or something. And so we tried to just like we tried to focus how this could work to play this whole thing, but like for an audience who will see it like 3 weeks later or something. And yeah, actually it was, I can speak for me, it was quite hard, because we were in this theater room where you have like play a little bit, do a little bit of overacting, like not you're playing for the camera. And yeah, for me, I don't like the result that much, because it's like something between it. It's like, for me, it's like kind of undecided if it's in the room for an audience who is present, or if it's like much smaller for the camera. Yeah, we try to invert this.
Yeah, it was really something we had to figure out in the way that suddenly you don't get reactions. You have no one. Maybe there was the technician, 2 cameramen, and our mentor, but they were silent, and you don't get. It's not the same when there's no audience, and so it was really a way to find out. Okay, how can I still give it everything without, like Mark said, without overacting, because there's a camera that is zooming in on me and not seeing sometimes the whole stage and the whole play at once.
But also it's about overacting, but also about underacting, because there's not much tension in the room when there's actually no people that are there to watch you and are maybe excited, and that you are excited for. And that was actually a really hard, I think it was a struggle we all had. And it was actually really sad, and we tried to put a little bit of that into it, but yeah.
Yes, but if you think about the other side, is that we are there looking and have reactions. That is the thing. And that's what you put me thinking about, because I thought, well, they are really doing like if they have audience, and it was very clear that you hadn't audience. St. John, it was clear that they had audience, and I didn't know before if it was before the pandemic. But for you, it was very clear that you was without audience. But the thing is that you are doing it for an audience, and we are an audience that are having emotions and so. And this is another place that we are building in our days. It's another thing. You understand me? Because when we are doing a movie, it's like if we are in the mind or in a dream of someone else. It's what it looks. We are not like an audience. We're supposed to see, to be witnessing what is happening in that moment. You understand what I mean? And in that kind of performance, that I'm saying that because we are all experience new things and new thoughts. It's why I'm saying that it's everything. It's new. So we are doing as if we have an audience, and we have not that audience in present, but in the same time we have an audience that know that it is in that moment. Being witness of that, you understand? So it's very strange, because in the end we are really in the present for that audience, even we are not in contact with it. So it's even less egoistic, I think, because we as actors are always waiting for the reaction of the audience. But we know also that those reactions are not a very, how can I say that? It's not, well, I don't have the word in English, I try in another way. Sometimes the audience is very playful and very present, but it doesn't mean that is the best one. It doesn't mean that, you understand me? Because sometimes we take it wrong. Sometimes the audience is quite quiet and we think, wow, what have I done? It was terrible. And in the end, the audience is like, wow, it was wonderful. And other times the audience is always present, and in the end they are not so excited. So what does it mean to have people there? It is really the measure of what we are doing. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure about it. It's something that I don't have any solution. It's just I'm putting it in terms of think about it. Of course, the theater will be always with the audience, but in the middle times when we cannot do it, maybe we have a way to explore those kind of things. And your performance made me thinking about all those things that I didn't thought before.
That's nice. Yeah.
That's great, because I think it's actually a very current problem. Like all of us are thinking, like, what's the purpose of playing if there's no audience? And I think this is not only in Czech Republic, but also in Poland, also in Switzerland, also like all over the world right now.
Yeah.
So it's great that you see it this way, and I hope that, yeah, thank you for this. We actually have a question from YouTube, and so all of you who are watching us on YouTube, send us your questions. We need more questions. Like, we don't need it, but we want it. We want you to participate on the discussion. But here we have the question from Pierre. And Pierre asks, did you address this question yourselves? Is the theater the spectacle of alienation? Does the theatrical process lead to a certain emancipation? Think about it. And also, like, if some our colleagues from Poland want to say their opinion about this one, I think you can freely participate on this discussion too.
Okay, you're reading them. Okay, the first question was if all the topics came from us. Or the question we...
The question was, did you address this question? Well, the because Pierre wrote this question like a couple of minutes ago when we were speaking about some topic. So did you address this question yourselves? Like, is the theater the spectacle of alienation?
That is a super interesting question. Holy damn.
But also a very hard one.
Yes, it is. What the first thought that came to my mind with the second question, like, does the theatrical process lead to a certain emancipation? And I think that's what we all crave for in a way. Or I can talk for myself, but it's what I sometimes crave for, and especially in that project, an emancipation of rules, of different things that you think yourself, of insecurities, and how can I fight them on stage? Why do I want to go on stage? It's also because I want to liberate myself in a certain way. That's one thing. It's not the only thing why I go on stage, but I think it does lead to a certain emancipation, but sometimes it's not even that palpable. You don't even realize it, but it still leads to it opens up a lot of doors right now.
The question also is emancipation from what?
Yeah,
because there are so many types of emancipation. What do you want to emancipate yourself from the process, or from the thoughts of the critics, or from so many options? I don't know. That's a really hard one.
I think during the project this question came up in a certain way, not like we asked ourselves like, okay, how do I answer this, but because the topic of our project was also related in a certain way, that question was important. But as Millie said, emancipation from what? I think it always depends.
Maybe when we look at the different topics we all have, maybe it's for Mark. Maybe it's is the question for Mark. Maybe is he able to emancipate himself more from his ego? Right? Or from a crisis, or from the struggling artists? If you want, do you really want to suffer? Maybe those are the questions we can ask ourselves in case of this performance.
And the theater, the spectacle of alienation. Wow, I'm overwhelmed. Maybe Mark has something to say about that.
First, I have to Google the vocabulary. I don't know. I think you have a theater, a form where this is true, where the theater could be the spectacle of it. I don't think that in the theater in general is like this, but I just can speak for myself. I like when I see this kind of theater on stage, and maybe just like with lots of effects, but more just like for the actors and actresses themselves. Like, this is maybe what I tried with my part in this performance. So yeah, I think I would say yeah, it could be, but not in general.
Oh, sorry, but because I saw, I had the feeling that some of the people in the discussion also reacted with head nods, and I was like, okay, so it's not only us three that ask ourselves these questions. So yeah,
as I said, if you want to, like, people from Poland, if you want to join the discussion, just join us, and you can tell us your opinion about this one. because this question, I don't think it's only for 3 of you. I think it's for everyone, actually. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. But Franciszek?
I have some technical problems, so I was smiling because I don't I don't know what are you talking about, because it's so I'm trying to find out. So give me a minute, please.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, we have another question from YouTube. It's from Lucia, and Lucia says, I felt that there were many other meanings behind each scene, and for sure, I did not get or understand everything. But what caught my eye was the nudity, when he held the coat in his hand and she was wearing just bra during the first minutes of the performance. And I have to ask what meaning or purpose was in this. You need to turn on your microphone, ladies.
I have Mark.
What we were like, are we speaking about this little skit after Hamlet and okay?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. For this, yeah. So we were like in the process of developing it. We were thinking that we are a kind of fictive performance group, a group of performers, and actually we have this 3 parts, like this, I don't know, maybe 3 kinds of solos, but all these parts are representing different stages of the developing process of a performance. So the first one is like more like the conceptual stage. The second one is like more like the rehearsal stage, and the last one could be like the moment of the presentation. And since we were thinking about the connection between the 3 performers, we were like thinking, okay, maybe there is some kind of a romantic relationship, or maybe a switch of relationships, because first I forgot the names. Kurt and Ada and Ina. Kurt is together with Ada, and then he with Ina. No, with Ada.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
We played, yeah.
Yeah, first with Ada, and then he has a kind of affair with Ina, and this is like this is actually what we wanted to show there in this moment. That, yeah.
And also, as we explained earlier, we had this topic about how things are done in the theater world. Say it like this. It's not that. I don't think it's that arrogant as it may sound. Just like these little perks that are there, and group dynamics, and what happens to a group when there is a couple that enhances maybe each other's performance, and there's this left alone person in the group, which is Ada. No,
yes,
Ada. Yes, and we just wanted to show that and emphasize that what would happen. And oh yeah,
I think there's also we played a lot with signs and
Yes.
with cliches, and that's also a cliche that you see in theater and that is discussed in theater, and so we just wanted to put it out there again.
do it all.
Yeah, show every cliche of the theater that you can have.
The drunken artists,
The ones who smoke, the
all the
nudity.
nudity, yes, having sex always, and just like between rehearsals.
And that was also when this little moment came up. It's when she critiques him on his performance. So she gives him advice on how he has to play it. But it's also, we wanted to show how when a couple rehearses together, and what is important? Do you listen to the critique of your partner or not? Is it just how do you say floskeln? Shallow words, shallow meanings. So it all came in that little moment together, in a way.
And then there are those different stages where you think, how can you display something like that? Then there's the dynamic of her throwing a tantrum because she hates herself so much, but she loves him because he's so great, and that's also such a cliche. And and
the other way around. Like for him, it's like he's super in love with her in this moment because she's criticizing him so hard. And what kind of fucked up relationships are there in the theater?
Compare it to St. JOAN, the stage design is actually very minimalistic here. Why is this? Why did you choose to use only so not many props?
In the beginning, we had more props. We just had puppets on stage and more clothes and all kinds of weird shit that we found in that we found at our the props we have at our school. We just took everything that we thought might work, and then at one point they just stood there and weren't even used, and it was more the question of, okay, what doesn't help the performance and the stage.
We first had this huge idea of having a front stage and a backstage, and we just like show what's on the backstage and go onto the main stage and just like shift it all around. And then we just came back to what we could actually do in, like, what was it, 5 weeks? 6 weeks, and just reduced to the topic. And it is also, I think, a good example that theater is sometimes, or maybe also most of the time, when you don't play at the big theater where you have all the money you can spend, that you be minimalistic and use the things you have. And when you are a small artist collective, maybe this is more representable for actually that.
Yeah, and we thought then about what all the props could mean, like when we have this kind of this microphone ständer, how do you say it? Microphone thing. What is this representing in theater? What are and the other stuff, like smoking a cigarette is not just like smoking a cigarette. It stands for a kind of cliche or yes. So we were just like putting the things away which were like arbitrary and focused on the things that mean something for us.
We have now just a couple of last minutes, and the person Jan Faber, am I saying it right, the name? He's very important for you probably in the play because, and I love the moment when there was this flag with the name of him, and then you said, you don't know him? Well, you can find him on Wikipedia. And sure, yeah, I went to Wikipedia and I found him. Was he kind of like inspiration for the play, or what was the connection between the play and him?
Well, we first had this idea of our topic, and then we had to have a little bit more material, and there was this play of Jan Fabre called Blood, that I think I took to the rehearsals, and we tried a little bit out, and then we had this topic of blood also as a main topic, because Jeanne talks a lot about blood and bleeding out, and it's this idea of pouring your heart blood into something, and so this connected it all together. And also the text I had during my performance was an excerpt out of this play, and we all just thought that this would really fit into this whole idea of what you have to do to create art. And also this during the time we had this idea of criticizing the hypocrisy in the art world, we thought about the spectacle genius, when you just like hype an artist so much that it doesn't even matter what he does, it's just the name that just stands there, and they can actually do what they like. And
the idolizing of such figures.
Yeah. And also Jan Fabre did performances where he brought his artists, his performers into a really high stress level, to their limits, their physical limits. And we thought a lot about this whole process, and this is why we thematized him so much. And also can I say that he as this whole topic of sexualization in the art world and sexual violence, which I wanted to display kind of also in my performance in the end. He has some allegations that he was inappropriate with some of his performers. So that's also interesting to know when you see that and think about Jan Fabre and the way he talks about blood, maybe.
And also, I'm sorry, but because you said exactly the moment where, yes, look Jan Fabre up, sometimes you have the feeling when you go into a play, there are topics that are discussed or words that are placed that the audience has no idea what it is about. And it is sometimes very, you're just only if you're it's an elite way of displaying some topics. And that's also what I wanted to show, that sometimes I go into a play and someone uses a citation of someone and you have no idea why and who that person is, and only if you're very interested and you look it up afterwards, then you can understand it, but not during the play. Yes. So.
And probably my last question, and maybe the last question of this discussion, maybe someone on YouTube will surprise us and send some last questions, but from me is, will you want to ever listen to this song again, the last song, which, because it's like 10 minutes of repeating all over again and again.
No,
that's so funny because we can't hear it anymore. It just comes up somewhere and we're like, no, it's torture now.
after every rehearsal or every time we did the play, afterwards you have it in your head and it doesn't get out, and it's very annoying.
But you can still listen to Black Sabbath. That's still okay.
That's okay.
That's a good news. That's a good news. Okay, so I think like if anyone, do you want to say any last words from anyone? No? Well, in that case, thank you for amazing discussion. At first, I didn't think that it will take 2 hours, but it did. And it was amazing, and thank you for this. And now I will read your names if I find them. Yeah, again. So thank you, Michal, František, Melanie, Agnieszka, Millie, Jan, Mark, and Elsa. Thank you so much for amazing discussion. And I really hope to maybe see you on YouTube during other discussions this week again, or maybe see you one day like in person. That would be also very nice. Or maybe to see you on stage. That would be amazing. So thank you also to the audience who watched us on YouTube. And hopefully see you again tomorrow. I will not be here. There will be another host, but I think it will be amazing discussion. So thank you. Enjoy the festival week and enjoy all the amazing performances we have here. And see you again soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.